The death of Mikhail Gorbachev marked the end of a tumultuous and transformative era in Soviet and world history. As the last leader of the Soviet Union, Gorbachev played a pivotal role in the dramatic events that led to the collapse of the USSR and the end of the Cold War. This video serves as a reflective narrative, exploring Gorbachev's legacy, the challenges he faced, and the profound impact his leadership had on the course of history. Part 1. Rise to Power. The video begins by examining Mikhail Gorbachev's rise to power within the Soviet political hierarchy. Gorbachev became the General Secretary of the Communist Party of the Soviet Union in 1985, introducing a new wave of reforms aimed at addressing the economic stagnation, political rigidity, and social unrest that had characterized the Soviet Union in the preceding decades. Part 2. Perestroika and Glasnost. As the narrative unfolds, it delves into Gorbachev's key policies: perestroika, restructuring, and glasnost, openness. Perestroika aimed at revitalizing the Soviet economy through limited market-oriented reforms, while glasnost sought to increase political openness and encourage public discourse. These reforms represented a departure from the rigid structures of the Soviet system. Part 3. The Cold War Thaw. The documentary-style narrative sheds light on Gorbachev's role in thawing Cold War tensions. His willingness to engage with Western leaders, particularly U.S. President Ronald Reagan, and a commitment to arms reduction agreements contributed to a détente between the superpowers. The end of the Cold War became a tangible prospect. Part 4. Unintended Consequences. The video reflects on the unintended consequences of Gorbachev's reforms. While they aimed at rejuvenating the Soviet system, the openness fostered by glasnost exposed deep-seated issues and dissatisfaction among the Soviet population. Calls for greater autonomy from the republics and nationalist sentiments began to challenge the unity of the Soviet Union. Part 5. The Collapse of the Soviet Union. As the narrative vividly recounts, the unraveling of the Soviet Union accelerated. Gorbachev's efforts to reform the system inadvertently led to its dissolution. The Baltic states declared independence, and a failed coup attempt by hardline communists in 1991 further weakened Gorbachev's position. The Soviet Union officially dissolved on December 26, 1991. Part 6. Gorbachev's Resignation. The documentary explores the circumstances surrounding Gorbachev's resignation as the president of the Soviet Union. Facing internal opposition and unable to prevent the disintegration of the Union he once led, Gorbachev resigned on December 25, 1991, signaling the end of the Soviet era and his political career. Part 7. Legacy and Global Impact. The video reflects on Gorbachev's legacy and his global impact. While he is often lauded for his role in ending the Cold War and promoting democratic reforms, Gorbachev faced criticism from some quarters, especially within Russia, for the economic hardships and political turmoil that accompanied the collapse of the Soviet Union. Part 8. Post-Soviet Russia. The documentary-style narrative concludes by examining Gorbachev's post-Soviet life and Russia's subsequent trajectory. Gorbachev remained active in international affairs and continued to advocate for peaceful solutions to global conflicts. Meanwhile, Russia grappled with the challenges of transitioning from a communist state to a market-oriented democracy. Conclusion. The death of Mikhail Gorbachev in 2022 marked the end of an era, symbolizing the closure of a chapter in Soviet and global history. As explored in this reflective narrative, Gorbachev's leadership and the reforms he initiated had far-reaching and complex consequences. The collapse of the Soviet Union, while ending the Cold War, also ushered in a new era of geopolitical dynamics and challenges. Understanding Gorbachev's legacy requires a nuanced perspective that acknowledges both his contributions to global peace and the complexities of navigating the end of a superpower.